Thank you for staying with us. You're still watching The Breakfast on Plus TV Africa. It's time to take the global stories that have made it to the front pages of our national dailies. And joining us this morning is Kehinde Nwandu. He's the executive editor, CKN News. Good morning, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure. You look good. I think Nigeria is treating you well.
Thank you.
And I think I would like to start with The Punch because, of course, we're transmitting live and we're using a platform that requires data. So The Punch leads with 50% tariff hike. Nigerians may spend about 6.7 trillion naira on calls. The writer here says telecoms group insists hike should have been lower, threatened suit ahead of February implementation date. So right now, 50% tariff hike. But if we circle back a little bit, less than 2 years ago, fuel subsidy was gone. So of course, there's been petrol hike. Even though over the few months or 1.5 years, we've seen different hikes coming and going. Recently, it was reduced. Now we're back again at about 1,000 naira. Another thing that happened was electricity tariff hike, whereby Band A customers obviously had to pay more, and I think it was over 300% to that. Right now, as I speak to you, come February, we'll be seeing an implementation of the telecoms hike, whereby Nigerians will now have to pay 50% more, even though, I mean, this price has not been changed since 2013. So it's understandable when we look at where we are right now and what the exchange rate is and, you know, the inflation on everything. But what is your take on the fact that, I mean, I've set the trajectory of things of how they've been, and now we're now still faced with a 50% tariff hike for all of the calls and data that we'd be having?
Well, you practically said it all. I personally feel that the tariff increase within that sector is overdue.
Yeah.
If you look at it, just as you said, there have not been any tariff increase in the past 13 years. Tell me a single product in Nigeria that has not had an increase in 13 years. None. In fact, some is just on a weekly basis. So if the sector has remained so stagnant for 13 years without any increase, then you can say that it's not possible. That industry is not maybe on a shaking bit, and if nothing is done immediately, then they collapse. And everything about our economy is tied to the telecom sector. Practically nothing can do without the telecom sector. Without the telecom sector, I cannot be sitting down here in my office and talking to you right there in your office this morning. So, and so many other things like that. Telecom has reduced our workloads. It has cut down the time being used for running businesses. If I have a business that I need to run in the island from the mainland, that means I have to pull my car, drive all the way to the island. And for me to transact that and come back, you know the cost of that. We know what the problem was pre-1999, 2000, when the telecom industry was liberalized. In the days of Nitel, where we were queuing up at Nitel offices to make calls and pay for them. So this is an industry that is good from the needs of back. And so there is need for them to be able to have commensurate tariff to be able to run the business. Don't forget that what they requested for was 100%. But NCC yesterday in Sweden were able to cut that to 50%. But my challenge here is that with the annual increase, I hope there will also be increase in the quality of the within the site, because we've seen several times that you use make a call, you have drop calls, you send messages, doesn't deliver, it was up for 5 minutes or 100 of them. And so personally, I think that is a business that is too bad. We don't want this business to collapse. Because each of, apart from the fact that they are coexisting in terms of infrastructure now, or cohabitated in as it were, you've got to realize that at each endpoint of this telecom companies, they have two generators that are powering, that are put in place in their within their mast to be able to power this thing, because because of the problem of public electricity. You know the problem we are going through, where we are doing between 4,000 5,000 megawatts for a country of over 200 million people. So they generate their own power. That of, you see, the petroleum sector, the energy sector have increased in terms of prices. So it is a welcome development. We don't want this sector to collapse. We need to have.
All right, I guess Nigerians just need to brace up for this. It might be tough, it might be challenging, especially with all of the things that we have to do right now. Just being able to afford the basic necessities of life. But hey, we still need these people to be in business.
Let me also put this. Let me also put this. This will also call our talk. People should not cut down the number of talking. People will pick up phone.
I hope we don't get
it. They will practically sleep there talking as if they are to the market. So that is the, if you know that there's going to be an increase of about 50% on your cost, although you say that WhatsApp is doing a lot of job with cost, but don't forget that you're also burning data.
Data, yes.
So people should cut down, communicate. Go straight to the point. Make your point. Oh, I love you. I love you. Okay,
it's just taking me back. It's just taking me back to when when all of these telecoms first started in Nigeria, and I think that was like 2003, 2005, and at that point it was still per minute billing. It wasn't per second. And of course you're looking at your phone and, I don't want it to get to 59 or 01. So I think at this point a lot of people will have to be careful, knowing that I'm going to be spending a lot more right now. But like I said, we just need to brace up, and we're resilient people, would always bounce back anyway. All right, there's another story here that says court condemns media trial, denies EFCC arrest warrant request, says to decor, others not properly served. And the writer here says, I served FBN, that's the First Bank, Nigerian PLC, with dedication and integrity, that's according to Onasoya, and I'll defend my reputation aggressively, that's according to Utideko. Now, of course, there's been allegations against him, saying, of course, he had some fraudulent activities with First Bank while he was serving, and I think over 4 years. But we've heard that this is about 12 years in the making, and of course, EFCC had already investigated at that point, but here they are revisiting it in. What's your take on this, and the fact that they weren't even properly served, but yet the EFCC is just clamoring and making this a huge thing right now?
Yeah, as somebody that read law, the issue of service is very fundamental in legal work, because you need to serve whoever you are suing properly, and there are channels that have been established for such. There is either you serve them directly to their lawyers, or there's also called substitute service, where you cannot be able to reach the person. The court can ask you to serve the person either by placing the notice on his by his gate or his wall, or even through through print media. So, if in reason of the court that there was no proper service, as to then EFCC have done the wrong thing, and that is problem. That's one of the problems with EFCC. This EFCC is one agency that believes so much in media trial. You see them; they are very quick to carry a signboard and put on the neck of Nigerians and ask them to post for pictures, and they snap pictures and splash it everywhere. Even when the people they have never taken them to court. Yes, they have taken over from the police. This was what the police was doing first, and the court stopped it from doing that public parade. But you see that EFCC have taken over from the police. And the question you ask yourself, and which is to me, is hypocrite on that side, is because few days ago, about a week or two ago, EFCC told us that about 30 of their personnel were sacked or were dismissed for fraudulent activities, some brought into where they kept goods, recovered goods, and when they will be. EFCC did not give us the names of the people. EFCC did not display the pictures of the operatives, and they ask yourself, what is the difference between somebody that's supposed to who's supposed to be a custodian of those people that are supposed to run after corrupt people are the ones now being corrupt. So that is why I say that EFCC needs to be able to put his act together. The new chairman of EFCC needs to do that. He's a lawyer, so I heard. So he's supposed to know the rules. So we're going back to the issue of the fraud charges against about Tudeko and also Nosaya and some other people. It is for the court to decide. It is not, you can plead your innocence, but you remain innocent as it will until the court provides otherwise. So let them go to court and prove themselves. And if EFCC have not done the needful, let them do the needful. But the good side to me is that there is some level of anti, because this issue of fraud or no fraud against some of these people has been on for years. And First Bank have been having serious issues trying to recover some of these debts. And these were people that are supposed to be top echelons of the bank, chairmen, MDs, and the rest of them. And it seems that there's a new sheriff. Let me tell you what is happening. There's a new sheriff in First Bank, in the person of the new chairman of First Bank, Femi Otedola, who is an astute businessman, a billionaire, who probably feel that people's fund has been mismanaged as it were, and is going after doing that. Don't forget there's also the case of a particular big wig in the media that also dealing with as interest. So anybody that is accused of such should go to the court and clear his name. But in terms of service, if EFCC did not do the right thing, let them do it. Because that is why they always lose many cases. You parade people, you pick people, and you take them to court without enough evidence, and let go. And that fight against corruption and itself now becomes a problem. So let them do the needful, so that the people who have the right to clear their names. And if the court find them not culpable, then they'll let them go.
All right. So let's move over to The Nation. And The Nation leads with Edu. How Tinubu is stabilizing economy, reducing poverty. The writer here says President has an agenda for $1 trillion country, ministers to intensify diversification, innovation will yield long-term benefits. Do you agree with all of this? Seeing where we are right now as a nation, is the economy really being stabilized, and has poverty reduced maybe at a significant rate or not?
When we talk, they say we are pessimists. We are not patriotic. We are unpatriotic. The only patriotic people in Nigeria are those that are serving.
Or we're opposition party.
The rest of us are patriotic. There are those in the opposition party. Yes. They are the patriotic. The only patriotic people are those that are serving government and are speaking for government. So, Mr. Wale Edu, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister for the Economy, can come out and say anything like that. For us, and as I always say, until that, whatever policy they are putting in place is having a positive impact on Nigerians, including how they feed their pockets, how they clothe, how they are able to go about their businesses, then it's neither here nor there. Let me tell me how much is naira to $1 as of today. How much is the perishables in the market? Tomatoes, ham, gari, beans, rice, and the rest of them. How well are Nigerians feeding? What is being their lifestyle between 2023, May 29, 2023, when this current government took over, and now, and what it was prior that period. So those are the issues that are fundamental to me. So this issue of telling us that, things are improved, the economy, we're looking at 20 trillion, and looking at 50 trillion, and the rest of that, until we have an impact on the average Nigerian, then whatever we're saying, we're just neither here nor there.
I think we just lost Kehinde Nwandu's audio. But we're just talking about how the president is stabilizing the economy and reducing poverty, according to the finance minister, Wale Edu. I'm not sure that would be the case for most people. I'm not sure that those are the words that they would choose to say, yes, the economy is being stabilized. Of course, we're flourishing. Poverty has reduced significantly. I'm not sure that's the case, because on the streets, things are different. On paper, it might look, maybe we're making progress, but on the streets, not necessarily. And I think the government needs to do a lot more. I don't know what they need to do. I don't know, what magic they just need to whip up right now. But the economy is in shambles, if we're being honest. And this is not opposition party, this is not me being unpatriotic, but it's something that we definitely need to look at. Do we have Chris back? Hello, sir, can you hear me?
I think you have Chris back. And I can hear you.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay,
Yeah.
so you were saying something. I'm just going to let you land before I move over to another story.
Practically, what I'm saying in essence is that it's only those in government that see the positive. Until this effect impact on Nigerians, whatever the government is saying, to me, is neither here nor there. Let Nigerians feel the impact. It's 2 years into practically 2 years into this government. There were promises that were made. Let Nigerians start feeling the benefits of that promises. And that is what is key to me and to every other Nigerian.
All right. So there's a story that caught my attention here on The Nation, and it says NACON fixes 8.3 million naira as 2025 Hajj fares. No compromise on guidelines. So, of course, there's Hajj, that's pilgrimage. And one thing we've always talked about was, why are we still prioritizing this, knowing where the economy is? If someone wants to travel for their own religious or spiritual journey, why can't they do it by themselves? Why does the government have to pay for them? Of which these are a select few, because there are many people that probably are not Christians or they're not Muslims. There are many people that are atheists. There are many people that, practice African traditional religion. And so what happens to them? It's not something that goes across the entire citizenry. But with this now, NACON fixes 8.3 million as 2025 Hajj fares. I want to understand, is it that people are going to be paying this amount, or they're still going to be paying Hajj fares for people?
No, I think it comes with a package. It's like having a tour. If you're having a tour, let's say you want to have a tour of Ghana, they give you full package of what it's going to cost you, the cost of transportation, accommodation, flights, and the rest of them. So I think that's what it came to. Government has a way of pegging this so that it doesn't get too expensive. And you know that we have an agency of government that is in charge of pilgrimage for both Christians and Muslims.
Yeah.
The way I totally agree with you also is the fact that this is a personal, your personal deals with your God. So why should government be involved? If I want to go to Jerusalem, that is my business. My God, I'm going to do it. So what has government got to do? I should be able to arrange for myself. But government in wisdom feel that I think there should be a collective effort where people can be, so that people are not exploited. But the fact remains that what is government's business in pilgrimage? You will see that over 60% or 70% or even about 30%, whichever percentage, will be sponsored by government. Even when we have next to nothing, when Nigeria is complaining about the issue of funds, of inability to be able to meet our demand when it comes to giving life to Nigerians. So why would government get itself involved in that? That is the second one is also that there's been a lot of corruption within the system. We saw what happened in last year's Hajj, where the head of the agency siphoned billions and billions of naira that was already approved by government for those that went on pilgrimage. And you ask yourself, these so-called people that go on pilgrimage, either for Christian or Muslim, what are they going to do? Because if the essence of going is to purify yourself and be in tune with your Creator, why are you also stealing yourself blind? Why are you stealing the nation blind? So those are the contradictions for me. The government, last year's old, I've not seen the white paper on the investigation. So many of the people, those that went on pilgrimage, complain. So many of the states, especially in the north, complain on the way their people were maltreated and how despite all that they pay, you pay about 8.5 million, you get there and you'll be sleeping on the streets. You can't find an accommodation to where to sleep. You can't find food to eat and the rest of them. So whoever is in charge, and those are in charge this year, they must be able to raise the antique and make sure that they should be able to do the needful and make sure that everybody that is traveling gets the level of comfort, at least the minimum comfort that it is that. 8.5 million is not just a joke. So to some people, that is their whole life savings, and they want to commune with their God. But the question, and what I still feel, is that government has no business in all these ventures, first of concern.
Yeah. And I just hope that it's not something whereby they're pegging that amount and saying we're going to pay for the people, because we have a lot more that we need as Nigerians, and not just sponsoring certain people's spiritual journey. All right, on The Guardian, it leads with federal government's free cesarean section, 104 facilities to enlist as pilot phase records 2,819 beneficiaries. So this is something that is good, that the government is definitely an initiative that the government is rolling out, that we would say is beneficial to people, especially mothers, because of course going into the labor room is no fit at all. And there are many people that die from this, but knowing that people can have this free cesarean section, I'm sure it's a great thing that we should embrace. What's your take on this? I know we come here and sometimes we berate the government and say, you guys are not doing the best, you're not, thinking of Nigerians. But what do you think of this as a good initiative that is being rolled out right now?
You're talking about cesarean operation. What of those that gave normal birth? What is being done about them? I think that I don't know whether there's any facility for that.
I'm not sure about that.
Our mortality rate has been on the rise for some time now. You know the number of women that died from just birth, you'll be shocked. So why a cesarean operation? Yes, crying might be more expensive. That is why they're looking at it. My own take is that they should take the issue of births, women delivery, as a total project, not just cesarean operation. 400 facilities to enlist as pilot phase, records 2,819 beneficiaries. That is just a drop in the number of births we have in Nigeria. I'm sure that in Nigeria, for that cesarean, they're talking about 2,000. I'm sure we have average of over 1 million deliveries probably in every other month across Nigeria. So that should be what I want to see is what have we done to reduce the mortality rate. There was something very, very germane that the former governor of Ondo State did that was very, very unique. What's his name now? That former governor. Shegun Mimiko, yes, Dr. Shegun Mimiko. There was a facility that he provided in Ondo State during his time, where child delivery was free for everybody in Ondo State. That was the name he called it. And you know what happened? You come to realize that when you go to those hospitals, women from other states are even more than that came from other states, neighboring states, Lagos, Edo, Delta, and the rest of them, were even more than those from Ondo State that were coming for delivery. Those that couldn't afford it. It was a baby boom. I visited those facilities during that period, and a lot of lives were saved. You don't pay a kobo. Once you are pregnant and you come, they get you registered, and during the period of pregnancy, till you deliver, the government will take care of you.
That
was what Dr. Mimiko did. Yes, and I don't think that was followed up by subsequent governors in that state. But he did that as a medical doctor. Those are the kind of pilots I will be looking at, and I think that the Federal Ministry of Health should be looking at. Open up, both the state at the federal level. Once you're pregnant, go to these hospitals, get the necessary medication, and have a safe delivery. That to me is not much important than just saying, there's a pilot scheme for cesarean. They might be their research, they might have their reasons. But to me, that is the way to go, because there are so many women who cannot afford. And let me tell you, part of the problem also. There are some women, what people do now is that they register at the private clinic and also register in government clinic. In case of
just in case, right?
Yeah. Exactly. You know that's what you do. But there is some problem where people just register with private clinic, and when they start having complications in delivery, they rush to government hospitals and they refuse to take them. And so and in the process, many women die. Some of them die. I've seen a situation in Lagos before where a woman died because she didn't register with that general hospital. So, as I said, there should be a more broad approach to the issue rather than just limiting it to just only that. Yes, I know that the essence of the cesarean operation, because operation cost is very expensive. But let us expand it to cover every pregnant woman in Nigeria.
That would be great Fine. I would also say that this is a step in the right direction. I mean, we have to start somewhere, but I think they need to look at it holistically, not just people who have to go through cesarean operation, but pregnant women in general, because we've seen the mortality rate is quite alarming. And as African women, we do not even have so much resources, but if we can get that, if the government can actually do that for us, we'd be grateful for it. And I think that's something they definitely need to be looking at. This is where we have to wrap it up on Off the Press this morning. We want to say thank you so much, Chris, for coming. It's always a pleasure discussing the papers with you. Thank you, sir.
My regards to my friend. Have a wonderful day.
He'll hear. Thank you so much. All right, we've been speaking with Chris Kehinde Nwandu, his executive editor at CKN News, and we've just been taking global stories that made it to the front pages of our national dailies. We'll go on a short break now. When we return, we'll be discussing Agenda 2025, looking at all of the policies that shaped Nigeria in 2024 and what 2025 has to offer. Please stay with us.